All really good questions. Generally speaking, we have a testing battery we implement with all of our athletes. And the one of the things that we do from the start is educate our athletes on the fact that we want them to be year-round athletes, and that we don't want them to neglect their physical development until the fight's announced. They've got 8 weeks, and now we're supposedly getting prepared. I'm going to have this conversation just the other day with one of my athletes, and I told that person, I said, look, chances are if you think getting ready 6 weeks out is the right time, it's probably too late to actually develop any qualities, to actually see any noticeable change. At that point, we should just be tapering, having a peaking stage, and then you're going to be fighting. So generally speaking, if someone doesn't have a fight announced, we're working on the qualities that we've identified that they need to work on. And we do that with some of our testing battery. So for example, if someone's force deficient, their biggest attribute to work on is producing amount of force and how much strength they have, then we'll spend time doing that until their fight's announced. Some of the times, the strategy doesn't change too much in fight camp either. And I say fight camp because you did the same thing and we understand what that means. So the severity of the preparation, how much, small details we change also depend on the stage of the athlete's career. So for example, Dennis, if I've got someone who's an amateur debut athlete, right? My strategy for that person is quite relaxed, and I'm a bit more long-term in my approach. I'm not necessarily going to implement a peaking stage for that person and, work up to this single event. The reality is if they're an amateur athlete, they're probably going to be competing in the next 3 to 6 weeks, ideally, in some sort of competition. Now, if you look at Cambosis' preparation, we knew he was going to be fighting Lopez in November, and we had a rough date. He told me it's going to be around June. So from November, we started planning backwards. That's a 6-month preparation. I knew George was going to be in Miami for his preparation. So we both started talking about communicating with the coach that's over there, putting things in place, having a schedule everyone was happy with. The reality is this is a fight that, when George has his fight, he might not fight again for a year. So the strategies are different, definitely based on the severity, or I won't say the importance of the fight, but the severity of the fight. If this fight for George, it's make or break, right? It's life-changing. It's a undisputed world title fight. One of our guys just fought on the weekend. He had his amateur MMA debut. I think he's fighting again in 6 weeks. So the approach changes, not just on the person, but there's so many factors. Bottom line is, all of our athletes get tested, Dennis, and we look at the qualities that they need to work on. Generally speaking, outside of fight camp, so let's just say that 8 to 6 weeks leading into a fight, our objective is to build those qualities, to build our athletes up. Into the fight camp stages, we tend to manipulate certain things in the training process so they can focus more on their sparring, more on their skills training, and then once the fight's over, we rewind that process. And over time, we ideally see an improvement in their physical qualities, as well as their weight cuts, the communication between teams, and all those things.